After returning to her hometown 5 years later, Ning Xi is determined to seek revenge on her sister and childhood sweetheart, who betrayed her. Her goal is to fulfill her childhood dream of becoming a famous actress. However, her sister is still plotting against her, and she must avoid all of her schemes and tricks. Original and most updated translations are from Volar Translations. Since it was the rush hour, traffic was especially bad. When Ning Xi arrived, she was already late. Chang Li and Ning Zuluo were smiling from ear to ear as they stepped out of the audition building. They were surrounded by a crowd that offered congratulations. Seeing Ning Xi from afar, sweating as she hurried to the building, Ning Zuluo looked at her with the same gaze from 5 years ago. It was the gaze of a deity looking down on an ant. A trail of dust was left behind as Ning Zuluo arrogantly left on her minivan. Ning Xi quickly ran into the building after seeing Ning Zuluo depart. It wasn't too late. Suddenly, Ning Xi ran into a group of people who were chatting cheerfully as they were walking. They were the panel judges for the Land Under Heaven auditions. Sorry, I'm late. Ning Xi bowed deeply. Seeing that Ning Xi had blocked their path and interrupted them, a couple of the judges exchanged looks, clearly unhappy. No one liked people who were late. The assistant director kept a straight face. The audition is already over. What's the point in rushing over here? Youngsters are getting more and more unreliable these days. I'm not here to try out for the lead role. Ning Xi started talking. Oh, you're not here to try for the female lead. Then what are auditioning for? The screenwriter asked with interest. I'm here to try out for the supporting female lead, Meng Chong. As far as I know, you weren't able to find a suitable actress for the supporting lead during the last auditions. Ning Xi lifted her head before the screenwriter could respond to her words. The instant Ning Xi lifted her head, the surroundings turned quiet for 5 seconds. The unfriendly assistant director was awestruck. What he saw was a girl with full lips, white teeth, waist-long ebony hair, in a crimson dress. Her brilliance could not be suppressed by such a vibrant color. Instead, it helped enhance her beauty. She was just standing there calmly, yet it was almost as if she was standing in a forest of floating mist. She seemed like a fox spirit with 1,000 years of cultivation. That pair of mesmerizing eyes would make a person drop their guard and fall into that endless spring of beauty in just an instant. Although her cultivation was that of a spirit fox, she seemed like fairy, who had never stepped on the ground. Her eyes held a lustrous depth. What's your name? As if they had been lost in a beautiful dream, many of the judges regained their senses only after director Guo Qisheng spoke. Ning Xi. Director Guo spoke after exchanging glances with the assistant director, screenwriter and film producer. I have some recollection of you. You're one of Starlight's artists, right? You can go back to prepare. The supporting female lead is yours. You will be notified when filming starts. Thank you, director. I will prepare well. Ning Xi bowed to express her gratitude. Ning Xi's target had always been the supporting female lead. She had been preparing this role for 3 months by trying to completely understand Meng Chang's character, making all the effort to impress the judges with just a single glance. Fortunately, she had succeeded despite some setbacks. Director Guo exclaimed after Ning Xi had left. We looked all over for an actress, and the moment we stopped looking, we found the perfect one. Her qualifications are too poor despite being signed to Starlight Entertainment. With her acting record, I didn't even consider her for the female lead, though I had never imagined that she would be far more beautiful than in her pictures. Screenwriter Ye Linglong couldn't suppress his excitement either. Most importantly, her aura was on point. That gaze from before was too fitting. Meng Chang was a righteous female general before she became the downfall of the nation. She could be pretty and coquettish, yet she would maintain a pure demeanor and state of mind. She could never be vulgar. All the artists that came to audition before acted out brothel courtesans for me. I was fuming. Haha. Don't get worked up. Haven't we finally found the Chong we've been waiting for? At the same time, in the city, the First People's Hospital, the VIP hospital room that Little Bun was in, was currently in a state of chaos. The little guy was huddled on the windowsill with bare feet. He was frustrated and screaming at the top of his lungs. No matter how the doctors and nurses tried to persuade him, he wouldn't come down. Lu Jingli was cajoling him like the most precious person in his heart, but it couldn't be helped that his efforts were completely ignored by the other. Lu Tingxiao had just been called back to his company, but with no other options left, Lu Jingli had to call him. Original and most updated translations are from Volar translations. Brother, you're finally here. Your little treasure was just fine a while ago, but he suddenly started going on a rampage. What happened? Lu Tingxiao asked in a low voice. I don't know what happened either. After he woke up, he was searching everywhere for someone. I thought that he might be searching for Ning Xi, so I told him to stop looking. The pretty lady had already left. As soon as I finished talking, he started his rampage. Little treasure seems to like Ning Xi a lot, but it shouldn't be to the point where he would get this agitated by just hearing that she left. Also, it had been a long time since little treasure had shown such intense and turbulent emotions. After hearing what had happened, Lu Tingxiao walked straight towards his son. Seeing Lu Tingxiao come closer, the little guy immediately retreated backwards warily. His eyes were filled with caution and aversion. He wasn't going to stop, even for his own father. Lu Tingxiao stopped when he was 3 steps away from his son. He said in a calm and steady tone, when your second uncle told you that the lady had already left, that was exactly what he meant. There was nothing wrong with her health, so she has already left the hospital to go home. She didn't die. It's not like when your grandmother left and never came back. Understand? It was perhaps only when facing his son that Lu Tingxiao would have such patience, having so much to say. Lu Jingli gaped. Are you kidding me? I only said those 2 words. She left, and his mind made such a huge leap. Xiao Bao had personally seen Ning Xi fall down, and had already experienced a big fright. Under such emotional turmoil, he couldn't be blamed for misunderstanding the situation. Little treasure briefly stopped screaming after hearing Lu Tingxiao's explanation. He refused to move while burying his head and curling up on the windowsill. Seeing this, Lu Tingxiao took out a slip of paper. She left this for you. Are you going to look at it? Little treasure's body twitched once, as if a switch had been turned on. He quickly raised his head and opened his little arms, indicating that he wanted his father to hug him. Lu Jingli, the doctors and nurses at the scene, everyone in the room had been put through the ringer to the point of breaking down. Yet, Lu Tingxiao managed to end the matter with a slip of paper. Lu Jingli had originally thought that asking Ning Xi for a note was entirely unnecessary, but now he was completely convinced. Lu Tingxiao carried his son to the sofa and sat down, then handed the paper slip to him. The little guy eagerly received it. He had learned to recognize words a long time ago and could already read on his own. Darling, thank you for saving me. You're amazing, Zoxo Tilda. Looking at the words on the slip and the heart drawn at the end of it, the little guy's eyes were sparkling. He even had a faint blush on his cheeks. Even though he tightened his lips reservedly, the corners of his mouth could not resist faintly quirking up. His demeanor was especially cute. Lu Jingli looked as if he had just seen a ghost. What the asterisk. Was I just blinded? Our little treasure actually smiled. I can't even remember how long it's been since I last saw him smile. What exactly did Ning Xi write? Lu Jingli wanted to sneak a peek, but little treasure immediately hid it like it was a precious treasure. However, Lu Jingli's sharp eyes had already seen it. It was just a fairly ordinary note, yet it could make little treasure so happy. This Ning Xi was remarkable. Lu Tingxiao gazed warmly at his son without speaking. After little treasure had woken up, Lu Tingxiao immediately brought him home. In addition, he postponed all his work at the company to stay with little treasure at home. At night, in Platinum Palace's Villa number 8, the huge living room was icy cold. An adult and a child sat facing each other across the dining table with matching cold expressions. Lu Tingxiao, eat your food. Little treasure turned a deaf ear. Lu Tingxiao, I'm saying this for the last time. Little treasure didn't even twitch. Lu Tingxiao, do you think that this kind of childish hunger strike would work against me? Little treasure was like a meditating old monk, completely immersed in his own world, isolated from the outside world. The duo continued to confront one another. After 1 hour, Lu Tingxiao called Lu Jingli, "Send me Ning Xi's address." Okay, so this had proved that hunger strikes did work on him. Lu Jingli was extremely efficient as he immediately sent Ning Xi's exact address to his older brother's cell phone. Following that was a huge pile of gossip, which was completely ignored by Lu Tingxiao. This time, Lu Tingxiao didn't even need to say anything.